Greetings, YouTube. Last week I reviewed a DC Adventures supplement covering heroes and villains for the DC Adventures role-playing game. And it's gotten me thinking about superheroes and superhero comics in general. Now, I used to read a lot of comic books when I was younger. When I finally got rid of my comic collection, I had something like 17 long boxes. I still have one box in the closet of things I actually wanted to keep. And I loved the heroes. I loved some of the storylines, the art, a lot of the technology in them. But over time, I became more and more disenfranchised with one aspect of the comics. And that is that they are essentially Spandex-covered soap operas. They are all about the drama. They are no different than the afternoon soap operas shown on television all over America. They're all about who's dating who and who's breaking whose heart, and this person's cheating on that person, and there's a crime over there, and that person's had this person's baby, and things like that. And it's just one endless kerfuffle after another. It's just horrible. Now, superheroes themselves are interesting. They are cool. Superpowers are awesome. But it's been my experience that very few superheroes use them in very pragmatic ways. They don't use them in a way that I think that we would use them if we suddenly found ourselves with superpowers. You give me John Jones, the Martian Manhunter's abilities, and while I would still fight crime, I would also be really bloody rich. Let's face it, organized crime has a whole lot of money that isn't on the books. And what better way to hurt them where it counts than to take their money? Not to mention, I would be making sure that a whole lot of CEOs and politicians had a really hot time when it came to the news. But when I was reading this DC Adventures book I reviewed, I'm reading entries about superheroes one after another in rapid succession. And I'm reading about their particular stories. And it's parents killed by this group, or aunt and uncle slain by dragons, or kidnapped as a child and raised by evil ninjas. And it became just so blatantly absurd. It's one overly blown, dramatic, Greek drama after another. It was just horrible. As I'm reading these things, I'm like, how the heck did I ever do this when I was younger? How did I swallow my sense of willing disbelief enough to tolerate these absolutely silly storylines? Let's face it. If you were Spider-Man, why the heck didn't you join S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers? Okay? You've got powers that can make you very wealthy. And you could fight for the good guys. But no. He needs to stay solo because that's what the character's designed to help the reader to relate to being an awkward teen. But it doesn't make any sense if you had those abilities. Why wouldn't you become a superhero working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers? Or heck, go work for the government if you really want to. But no. Gotta be solo. Gotta take care of your little neighborhood because that's what the storyline is supposed to relate to. And I grew really tired of those. I read Joseph Campbell's A Hero with a Thousand Faces, and I recommend it for everyone, particularly if you are a fan of fiction. Because after you read that, you're going to realize that all the characters have been written. And after you've looked at a few role-playing games, you'll realize it, and read it for comic books, you'll realize that all the heroes have been written as well. There aren't a lot of new and interesting mixes when it comes to superhero powers. But I did enjoy superheroes for a long time, and occasionally I still do watch superhero movies, because it's a nice, distinct dose of superheroes. I can watch it, and I can move on. I don't have to worry about, buying the next issue next month to see where the story goes. It's like a little quanta of superheroes. And quite frankly, one of the best ones I've seen in the last few years has probably been Hancock, right up there with Iron Man, the first one at least. I really despised the second one. And the remake of the Hulk was great. So, I love superheroes. But I think I love my nostalgia for superheroes more than I actually love the superheroes themselves. So tell me, are you into comics? Do you love superheroes? Have you grown tired of the spandex-covered soap opera that is comic books? What's your view on that most belovedly American thing, the superhero?